Yeah, you better step into the light. Just give it a try. Think that it's time you let that spark out. You've been hiding in the shadows way too long. And who cares if you might mess it up? You're stronger than...
Hello everyone. Welcome to our Who, What, Where Wednesday. It's so wonderful to see you all here again, and I will come back to the messages a little bit later on in the show. I'm excited today, firstly, because it's Wednesday again. It's our weekly Who, What, Where Wednesday. The voice choice power, the diamond within. We all have a diamond within us. You know, the years, depending on your age, has left you with maybe some scars, maybe some, feelings of not being worthy, not being enough for some people in your life. So we are here to bring out that diamond within. I'd like to say also a big thank you for your support for all of my videos each week. And if you haven't yet, please pop over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, like and share. And also ring the bell if you want to receive the notifications for when we go live. I also have my book. I'm a published author, Narelle Warcon from Mackay in Queensland, and I am a published author of my autobiography called Blonde Roots. I lived through some pretty horrific times in my life. I became an author back in 2012, writing my story about my journey through domestic violence, sexual, physical, and mental abuse. My book was not written as a bestseller. It was written so that I could bring hope to others. And hope is exactly where things are. And I believe that if we all come from a place of love, then things in our lives can change immensely. So I'm going to not talk too much now and go over to our wonderful and special guest, Ian Gundrill. Welcome, Ian, and thank you so much for joining us today. Ian and I have known each other on Facebook. Through a company that we're both involved with. Ian brings with him a wealth of information, also life experience, as all of we do, and he's coming on to share that with us this evening. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here and supporting my live on Who, What, Where Wednesday. Over to you, Ian.
Yeah, g'day, Narelle. Thanks for inviting me. It's a wonderful opportunity to tell a little bit of a story, because I'm sitting here tonight thinking there's really not a lot I could say about myself, because I've had a very ordinary existence, if you know what I mean. But it's a good story, and I think the objective here is just to let people know that anything is possible. And really, to kick things off, I've got to go back to when I was 16. Lived on a dairy farm near Shepparton in Victoria. Our family was all well put together. We had good football and sport orientated type things. We all went out and got our jobs, and we just spent an ordinary life. I, on the other hand, expanded out, and I couldn't handle school. So at 16, I left and went and got a job. Mum said I could leave, and she'll take me down to the employment agency, provided I was prepared to get a job. I didn't get a job, I had to go back to school. So I donned my purple suit and off I went. And we ended up in the employment office, and the first job I picked off the wall was around the corner. It wouldn't have been half a block. Walked in and they gave me the job because I was 6'5" and I could reach the top of the 10-foot shelves. So I got the job. Now, coming off a farm, I didn't have any experience whatsoever. I was a farm boy, but it turned out that my boss knew my father, incidentally, and played a lot of cricket. And he said, "Your father's a good fella, and he was a good cricketer too. So, and you're tall, so you've got the job." So that was how I got my first job. But in that job, my job was to fill the shelves and clean and dust and do all the usual things a 16-year-old does. Now, I had a warehouse supervisor, and his name was Jock, and he's about a 5'0" Scotsman, and he was always in a hurry. And he felt that if he was always in a hurry, everybody else should either get out of the way or go faster. So he was my boss. And of course, he just kept running through me until I got the message. He was a Trojan, but it turned out that it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I learnt to work fast. I learnt to respect people around me and listen to what I was being told, because if I didn't, I got run over again. And that's how I learnt my work ethics, and it's stuck with me. So old Jock is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. We ended up very good friends until he passed away a long time ago. But that's how I started my work career, and it's well worth noting that however you start is generally how you finish, unless you change up. So from that, that wasn't it was a dead end job really, but it was a job. I was 16 and I did a couple of years of that and got a little bit of experience, but then I got an offer to go as a sales rep in an industry that is completely different to where I was. But I just thought, well, you got to bite off more than you can chew, and then chew as hard as you can and see where it runs. It was a perfect job. It was a sales rep's job all over Victoria and into southern New South Wales. Loved it. But the boss didn't love the results. I was useless. I was hopeless. I didn't ask for a sale, did I? I didn't do the usual things a sales rep really should have done, and I got sacked. And that was the biggest kick in the backside I think I've ever had in my life, and it's stuck there right through my life. And I've always knew that that's one good thing, to go and bite off more than you can chew and then learn as you go. But this fella didn't have the tolerance that was needed for me to learn that quickly at that young age. So from there, I always swore that if I ever got another sales job, I will get some training and I'll come out and I'll do better and I'll win that over. And so that's what I did. I just kept on going. From there, I had some dead end jobs, about 5 years worth, thereabouts. And that was all good experiences. We played a lot of football and we chased the girls and we drank with the boys and we did all the usual things that young fellas do. But I decided to make a change and head to Cairns. So I sold my GT 351 Falcon and I bought an old G60 bush bashing 4-wheel drive, and off I went on my own. And I didn't know what I was going into. I heard a lot of stories about Cairns and I thought, well, I'm going for a look. When I got up there, I thought, well, I can play some football and they'll get me a job. And that was one promise I'd been given if I went up there. At 6'5", I was an all right footballer, and I knew that I was pretty safe as far as getting a job. But the sort of jobs that they gave me when I got there, they were certainly not career-orientated jobs either. It turned out that they put me in as a bouncer, along with a lot of the other players in the club. And if anybody knows Cairns, they'd recall a place called the House on the Hill. It was a nightclub, and also the Great Northern. And going back in those days, they were pretty tough and rough pubs. Mm-hmm. Didn't take me long to figure out that was not going to be me for very long at all. So I went out and got a real job and back into the similar industry in the automotive industry, where there was all these tall shelves and I was 6'5" and I got the job again. But with the work ethic that old Jock instilled in me, I applied that same principle and thought, well, if I work hard, then I should get on. So I did, and at one stage they gave me the keys because I said, this place is a mess. If you want me to clean it up, I'll stay behind each night until it's cleaned up, and I'll work the weekends and I'll do this and we'll get this place sorted out. So he gave me the keys willingly and I did it. And of course, the area supervisors and what have you got a drift of that and said, well, we need people like you. So they moved me on and I became a 2IC in another branch, and then ended up being a relief manager just through persistence and working hard. I didn't mind working. I was on my own. I wasn't married at the time, so I only had myself to look after. And if I had to work weekends to make something work, well, that's what I did. And it all came back to Jock again. Just that what that message he instilled into me was a good lesson. Yeah. So they moved me on from branch to branch to branch, and I became a troubleshooting type manager, where if they didn't have a manager or they had a problem area, they'd send me in and I'd sort it out, and then I'd say, well, where to next? And that's basically how I got a start in business. And then that same organisation developed a new section of their organisation, and it was called Service Station Wholesales. And they appointed me as Central Queensland manager. And it went from a clean slate, complete clean slate, because the job never existed prior, to managing it and building it. Now, if anybody's not familiar with Queensland, you can get an atlas out and have a look. My area was from Caboolture, just north of Brisbane, to Rockhampton, halfway up the coast, and out to Longreach and everything in between. So it was quite a task.
That's a big area.
Look, it
That's
took
a
me 2
huge
weeks
area
to
to cover. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I based myself in Bundaberg, and I just worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I got home on a Saturday night or a Friday night, and I did all my washing, and I got packed up, and I left again first thing Monday morning. So that was interesting, because I was rubbing shoulders with some of the managers of the likes of. My job was to get the likes of BP, Shell, and Mobil to all buy off our organisation. So in order to do that, you had to think outside the box. But in those days, they either couldn't get managers to work at night. This is going back in the late 80s, I suppose, or they didn't want to pay them to work at night. So a lot of the owners of the managers worked their own shifts at night. So it was hard to get hold of them. And that's as they said to me, one fella, how it started is one fella said to me, if you want to see me, because they didn't know who I was at the time, you want to see me and you want to do business with me, I'll be here at 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's when my shift starts, and I'll be right through till the morning, and then I'm off. So I rocked up at 1 o'clock and nearly fell over. And of course, that's, again, you got to go the extra mile. You got to do more than that's anticipated of you.
Yeah, worth ethic, isn't it?
It's that worth ethic.
Keep coming back again and again.
Get on. Yeah, listen to people. So I did. That's what I did, and he was so stunned with what I'd done that he rang his mates in different branches and different service stations to say, listen, this bloke's probably going to chase you down. He's worth having a talk to. And he doesn't mind coming in at night. So that was a plus. There wasn't anybody in the industry that would do that, but I did it. Yeah. And I turned that Central Queensland region from zero to hero in a year. And it was a phenomenal turnaround. And I mean, it wore me out because the mileage and the hours and things like that were terrible, but I enjoyed it. I loved it, and that's what I did. And people loved me doing it because that was outstanding to them. But it was ordinary for me. That was the standard I was set. But they haven't seen anybody that was prepared to do that sort of thing. So my philosophy there was, if you do more than the others, then you're halfway home, and then do what you say you're going to do, and you'll always win the day. So again, back to good old-fashioned Jock, from all his Gaelic swearing at me and he's running through me, that instilled that in me. Then I decided, well, I'm a bit burnt out with this, and I got an offer from Mackay to go back to one of the local organisations to take care of an import-export product that they had called Lock and Stitch, and it was to do with engine reconditioning and commercial repairs that nobody else can do. And I chased up the mining industry, the coal mining industries, the sugar mills, Queensland Rail. They wanted someone that could do that level of communication. So I did that, and that went well, and I settled in Mackay. I loved the place. So we didn't know each other then, but we would have been passing each other in the street without knowing it.
What year were you here, Ian?
Around 90 through to, I can't remember the exact years, but it was from 90 onwards. And then I had a second stint. I came back. I had 2 stints there. So I found my wife there. We got married and then moved to the Gold Coast. So when I moved to the Gold Coast, I made my mind up I was going to run my own business. If I could do what I've done for other organisations, why am I doing it for myself? It's a natural progression. So I did, and it was. I started in water filtration, very small, and very quickly become aware that the farmers out there needed advice, and I didn't have that advice, and they needed tuition on water. They were in the dry days. They tried to feed the things like urea to supplement their cattle in dry grasses, and they're having all sorts of issues with water quality. So a year later, I spent that year studying and learning from some of the experts in the industry. Then went back and applied what I'd learnt, but I tailored that to the cattle industry. And it took off because no one was providing that service. So you can imagine my level of interest in what they're doing, my work ethic and philosophy. Farmers love that. They don't see it. They lap it up when you give it to them. And of
They
course, I
like
had
a
a level
thin wag, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The good old
So,
farmers just like to know that they're being heard, just like us all
exactly.
in business, but particularly the farmers.
So I just added product then, and I had people coming to me wanting to be a part of what I was doing. So I didn't want to employ people at the time, but I set them up as agents and distributors and fed the work off to them. So we go and do the Toowoomba Field Day. I'd sell my services and product, and then they'd book us to go out and see. We had months and months and months of work. I'd send people out into the farms. Now they'd go and stay on the farms, and then they'd ring their neighbours and say, look, I've got Harry here at the moment, and he's representing Gundrill Trading, and I think you should see him with his water conditioning. And they never come home. Their wives were screaming at me because they just stayed out in the field. And they made a fortune. They did. I did too.
Yeah.
We did really well solving these issues. And then we just expanded on that, and I went into full import of water filtration, and that became a bigger industry than what I was doing with the cattle industry, believe it or not. But I continued both side by side, and I ended up employing a lot of people at that point. I started, if you like, in my kitchen, and then went to my living room because it was too small. Then when we moved to the Gold Coast, I filled the garage, and then the wife decided that we need to do something here, so we went and bought acreage and built a 105 square building. And I thought, well, that'll do me. That's all I need. Thank you very much. Had an office in the front. I was happy as Larry, and that's the rest of my life. Well, under a year later, I had containers stacked on both ends, and containers wanting to get in couldn't. So I went and took a warehouse, and I took a 5-year lease on it because it was really well priced, and I thought, well, that's a sensible thing to do. But a year after that, I was out of space again. So I had to take some of the stock I was bringing in and put it over into the old shed, the 100 square feet there. And I battled through for that 5 years. And then we moved into a set of, there was a set of 5 factories in the one conglomerate. I took 3 of them. I thought, well, that'll do me. That's as big as we'll ever need to be. But at that point, I made the decision that I'm going to sell out and get out while I'm young enough. I've worked from 4 o'clock in the morning right through, and look, I just come from a farm, but the ethics and the work ethics that old Jock put into me and my father were all workaholics to begin with. I just didn't know it at the time. But when I saw how Jock was working me, I thought that's what work is about. So anybody that ever started with me, I applied the same principle to them, and I never got a grizzle because I always hired people when I hired them from the school of hard knocks, and there was only one that never made it through, and all the rest of them grabbed the opportunity. I taught them the trade, and I worked them hard, and they never grizzled because they had that opportunity, and I paid them well. So, the philosophy that I'm trying to get across tonight is that anybody can do, even though my story is not phenomenal, it's just surprising that someone that's 16 years of age can go out without any other assistance and have fun, promote themselves, and just keep biting off more than you can chew and make it through the other end.
Yeah.
And to do it in your own business at the end is quite exciting, and I loved every bit of it. That's
Just
pretty
before
much
you
my
go,
story.
just before you go ahead any further there, just taking it back, you know, ethics and things like that. I just want to say to our audience here today, you know, if you've had something similar in your life, you know, just write it in the chats and let us know what was the most amazing job you ever had. Because I think you may think that you've not done really anything at all or done much. And a lot of it came back from Jock, Ian, you know, from those ethical times of, or the ethics of hard work and things like that. And I think from our age group, that was probably something that we was instilled in us, you know, that you don't get anywhere unless you work hard. These days, it's probably about working more smarter than harder. And we have come into an age now where there's definitely, you know, different things becoming available. When, you know, mobile phones come in, it was no longer just a house phone wired into your lounge room or wherever. You could now move around. You know, there's so many different things also with laptop computers. We can be anywhere and do anything at any time. So for those of our audience here today, let me know if there's something that you've done that's really sort of different, I suppose, or outstanding to you, and something that made you feel good about you when you were doing that job. Because some of our jobs don't last forever. You know, some people are in their jobs for 30 years and then retire. They work hard. You know, we have Chris Johnson, who has worked for Ford in the US for 32 years, did the same job. It wasn't something that he necessarily liked doing, but he threw himself into that. And sometimes when you work hard, it can destroy some of your other parts of your life, whether it be family, you know, whether it be friendships and everything like that. So I really appreciate the fact that you shared that, but I also wanted to expand that. Not everybody, hey Lids, how you going? Not everybody thinks that something that you've done is necessarily, well, it hasn't been that exciting. But to some, that's very exciting. You know, growing up on a farm is where I grew up. I grew up on a dairy farm, and boy, we had to learn hard yakka work in the dairy from a very young age of like 7 years old. So everybody, you know, like you can come from different backgrounds, I suppose, but still have that same work ethic. So I'm just going to jump quickly and then I'll come back to you, Ian, because I can see some people coming in, being in. Want to welcome, you know, Deborah. Deborah was our first speaker here on Who, What, Where Wednesday. She was certainly a very amazing diamond that shared her life. Also, Lids David is coming in. Lydia's coming in from Ariba, which is just up from Cairns. I have been to Cairns a few times. Very beautiful place. We've got Kenton coming in from New Zealand. Kenton, thank you so much for your love and support. Really appreciate that. Kenton is somebody that I might get on if I can convince him that it's okay to share. We've got Sanoj, who's coming in from India. And also I saw somebody else there. Volti is Sanoj. Anyway, for those who have joined us tonight, I really appreciate it. Please share this out. We all have to start somewhere, and part of who I am is about bringing those diamonds out of people, you know, showing who you are, sharing your life a little bit around other people, because other people think they may have had a boring life. Yeah, security guard for 20 years, I know, and it's hard yakka. Being a security guard, as Ian shared tonight, that he did a little bit of bouncing when he was in the football years. I used to be involved with a football club over in Western Australia. I met my husband over there. He passed away 2 years ago. We were separated. However, in that football environment, oh my gosh, it's completely different environment. And a lot of drinking and a lot of socializing and things like that. You know, you've heard my stories, you've heard my life. I've shared with you every week so far about my book, Blonde Roots. And I want to just quickly pop over to my website because I just want to show you what it looks like. And then we'll come back to hear the rest of Ian's story. So as you can see here, this is my website, narellewarcon.com. Very simple, beautiful. I like it. It's not open for criticisms, okay? And also here is my blogs. I write blogs mostly daily. I do little bits and pieces. You know that I have started the carnivore journey. I have shared a little bit about that journey. Also, Ian has been on carnivore for 23 months. Ian will be sharing, and I will be sharing Ian's journey along his carnivore as well. So then I'll come back here. And that was a pre-recording that we did yesterday about Ian's journey on the carnivore lifestyle. So I do have a channel for that, but I'm not going to discuss that here today. I just want you to pop over, you know, if you want to leave a comment on any of my blogs, I appreciate that. And also with my YouTube, just to subscribe, like, and share. If you find that this video or my videos or whoever is coming on as a guest of any value, then please just share it out with others. You know, we don't know whose lives we are touching with the stories that we share. So I'm going to come back to you, Ian, and I want to say thank you again for everybody who's here and supporting us. Ian is a wonderful guest today who, like I said, has his own story, his own beginnings. And I'm now going to go over to you, Ian, to finish up with what it is that you're doing now.
Yeah, thank you. Well, our lives have crossed over on a number of occasions without us knowing about it. I lived in Mackay for 10 years and we didn't know each other. And then we've crossed over in ONPASSIVE, and now we've crossed over in carnivore. So that's pretty extraordinary in itself. But look, it's the carnivore diet that's changed my life, and that's only happened in the last 2 years. And now I'm ready. I was so unwell that now I'm due to carnivore. I've lost 43 kilos, and I feel as fit as I was when I was 25. I kid you not, it's such a great feeling. But now I'm ready. I'm now able to pick up and go and do something. And look, we're all been sitting here waiting for ONPASSIVE to launch. And I think I can do wonderful things with that. I like a unique product. Now, I'm the unique product that I'm going to take to people out there. Then I've got the energy to do it again now, thanks to carnivore. So ONPASSIVE is going to be my focus, and it doesn't look now like we've got a lot of time to wait. So the sooner that comes on, the more excited I'll be, and I'll be happy to get my teeth back into something, because retirement's not an easy thing.
No, and I think it's that acceptance, you know, like you said, doing carnivore has allowed you not only just to lose weight, but it's brought you back a lifestyle that you can now look at living differently and doing business differently. Remember, when we all start in business, it's hard. You know, when you start a business, I had a florist business. I started that from scratch. And I tell you what, I was working 7 days a week. I had a preemie baby in there. I had a 10-year-old, you know, like I was going flat out, a marriage breakup and everything like that. So it can sometimes be very difficult. So for those out there who are looking at ONPASSIVE, one of the things I just want to share is sometimes things happen, they take us in a different direction. You just have to be aware that if you've never been in business before, then you're not going to understand, not never, but you're not going to understand sometimes the path that we have to take in business to redirect sometimes to where we need to go. That can be seen as a stumbling stone. It can be seen as, you know, something else, or the wrong path, or going down halfway and not being the right path and coming back and starting again. So just be patient with everything. Everybody's doing the best that they can. I think we've come a long way in the time that we have been involved with ONPASSIVE. I want to take that over to you again, Ian, just on, you know, where are you like, where did you come from with that, and how did you find that? Just a quick overview for people who are here today.
My brother-in-law is a 2018 veteran. He was one of the first in, and probably the first, if not one of the few in Australia. But I didn't believe what he was trying to tell me there back then. So it took me 2 years to get a grip on exactly how fascinating that whole program is. And it's just got stronger from there. So I'm just really excited, because I think it's going to change the world, and it's going to change for people that had that same start I had, straight off the farm, no experience out there. But today you need a university degree to go and get a job. It's sad, unless you go and do a tradies job, and not everyone's skillful with their hands. So the coming of ONPASSIVE is going to lift humanity in a way that people, not even us internally, can understand or appreciate. And it's those people that don't have unique skills or an education that'll be set. I mean, there's no difference between someone with a university degree and somebody that didn't get through high school. It does not matter. That's the exciting part. So I'm really looking forward to that.
It is very exciting in that sense. Like you said, there's so many people have found ONPASSIVE because they were looking for something, because it's just too hard out there. Like you said, unless you got a university degree. I only went to year 10. I wouldn't call myself dumb, because what I did was I did a lot of, I did different jobs, but I've also been in business. And I always believe the old saying, you can be whatever you put your mind to, okay? Because I didn't pass a lot of subjects, but when you're determined, or life gives you, you know, like a single mom, and I had to work to provide for my children, it makes you on a different level, in a sense of having to, rather than wanting to sometimes. You know, yep. I got the job in the mines. Who would have thought a florist, you know, single mum, would have got a job driving, you know, 250-ton dump trucks in the coal mines, and learning that and standing up for myself within that situation. I think life is a growing, you know, we grow all the time from the experiences we have. And whether you've come from a good lifestyle or somewhere, you know, very commonly, in a sense, I would call ourselves, my parents were very poor people, but had a lot of love in their lives. That is really important to me, about bringing love back into our society and stop living in fear. The more I can share that out, the more I will, because fear will get you absolutely nowhere, and you're never too old to start something new. Believe you me, Ian said it himself, you know, that he feels alive. He feels back like when he was in his 20s, and I am starting to feel the same. I have been on carnivore now for 121 days today, and I'm feeling alive. I'm feeling fresh. I'm 63 years old, and I'm just feeling like my life is just beginning. I've been through the crap in my life, and it took me a long time to learn, to heal, and to come through a lot of that. As many of you here will have been through many things. Now, I saw a couple of others coming in. Rex from PNG, thank you so much. We love PNG. I love you guys. And the women over there, honestly, they have the biggest hearts in the whole wide world that I've ever met. I know we were having somebody come in from Botswana today. I can't see her name here, but she could be in on our Facebook channels. So anybody looking at Facebook that's not on the YouTube channel, thank you so much for being here. We have our Facebook. I have ONPASSIVE, OP Australia and New Zealand, Oceanic Ambassadors. If you want to go over and be part of that, I share a lot of stuff there with ONPASSIVE. I have my Narelle Warcon, you know, my normal page, and then I have Narelle Warcon author. I know it seems like a lot, but, you know, over the years, remembering that I built my name to be my brand, and I am sort of everywhere, and my book is available as well for sale. If you're interested or know somebody going through domestic violence, somebody who's been through it, somebody struggling through it, get them to reach out, send them over to my website. My book is available through there. And if you want to, you can also go to Amazon and get the downloadable from there. I've just sent a book over to New York just this last week, a signed copy. So if you want something done from overseas, you can contact me. I can do you a signed copy and we can work out the postage from there. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here this week. I really am but I really am enjoying every time I have a guest on, because I'm learning something new about you and you're learning something about what it's like to actually come on and be a part of what you are. Your life is important, and I want to bring out that diamond within you. So I'll just take it over to you again, Ian, and see if you would like to have a few words before we finish off today. Just sharing with people about, finishing off.
Yeah, sure. Just one thing I wanted to add pertaining to the carnivore diet, and somebody else listening in here might appreciate this. My brain fog was so bad that I kept refusing Narelle to talk on videos and things, because I couldn't finish a sentence. I could not have, 2 years ago, I couldn't have sat here and made a video like this, because I just would forget where I was at. That's how bad it was. And I just thought, well, this is the beginning of the end, but it really isn't. I'm feeling that good about, I'm doing interviews now. So,
Yeah,
I've never
and I'm
been
really
comfortable with
excited.
doing them, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
Look,
there's
it's
hope
not
there.
easy to come out on camera. That's one of the hardest things, I suppose. People, they live in fear. What people going to think about me? How do I think about myself? That sort of thing. But you are a diamond, okay? It's just the layers of crap that people put over you and you take on yourself over the years that you've been alive. So just remember that. Scratch the surface. It's there. And just in saying that, again, sorry for interrupting you, Ian, but I just want to say, well, I remember that if anybody wants to come on to my show, Who, What, Where Wednesday, and share a little bit about themselves, please reach out to me and we can organize something in a time, that if this time suits you. We can't do a lot of Americans, and we're really looking for Australians, New Zealanders, and our beautiful family over in PNG, and also Samoa, Singapore, Philippines, any of the islands that surround our beautiful Australia. I love my country, and I really want to be able to shine that light from within, by sharing your story with us. So again, over to you, Ian, if you want to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for being here again today. We really appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, great to be here. And we might do something else another day. You never know now.
Absolutely. And keep an eye out for Ian as well. Ian started his carnivore journey. Like I said, we'll have the recording out for you tomorrow, which is Thursday. But have a look for it. I'll share it on my channels. It's something that I think if you've got health issues, you really need to just research and have a look at what is available. Don't just be thinking, oh, this is it for me. I've had enough. I can't do any more. I'm a type 2 diabetic and I'm almost off all my medications within 4 months. That's a huge bonus to me. I've lost 7 kilos and I am feeling amazing. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me. Or if you're interested in talking to Ian, then reach out to me or Ian. Or if you can't get in contact with Ian, reach out to me and I'll send you over to him. It's been an absolute pleasure again. Remember, Who, What, Where Wednesday is on every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We start on the dot usually, and we look forward to having you here again. And thank you so much for your support. It really means a great deal to me. Those coming in from overseas, there's just one more there, and I'm not quite sure if I can pronounce that. And Janae and Yulu. sorry. Oh, Holly, how are you going? Love seeing you here. You missed the beginning, yeah, and it'll be available as a recording, live recording on my YouTube channel. Head over there. It's just my name, Narelle Warcon. Reach out, leave a comment if you can, share it out if you want to. Today we've had the pleasure of having our guest Ian Gundrill with us. Reach out if you would like to come on and share a little bit about your life. Remember, fear is just it's something that you can overcome, and love is the answer. So I'm here to support you and share your story with others also all over the world. So thanks again, Ian, for facing your fears and getting to that stage of being able to come on and do this. I really appreciate it and want to say thank you to you all. See you next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lids.